Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I'm so glad you could join me. Now that Halloween is over, I'm going to be moving on to some Christmas cards. I love them just as much as I love Halloween cards. And today I'll be using the brick pattern stencil. I can't seem to get enough of this stencil since I bought it because it's just so versatile. And I'm going to pair it up with my all-time favorite Christmas die set from Whimsy Stamps. It's their Decorate a Tree die set. I love this die because you can do so much with it and the possibilities are just endless. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is spray my stencil with some pixie spray. This will help hold the stencil in place while I do my ink blending. Make sure to shake it really well. I spray it on the back side and let it dry for about a minute, and then I lay it on top of a piece of white cardstock I cut to 4.5 by 5.25 inches, and I press it down really good to make sure it stays in place. Using my antique linen distress oxide ink and an ink blending tool, I blend over the middle of the stencil. I rub some off onto some piece of scrap paper just so I don't get any harsh dark spots on my paper. I mostly focus on the middle of the paper because I want it to fade out around the edges. And then when I'm done, I carefully peel off the stencil and look at how nice that came out. It's exactly what I was looking for my background, and I'll just set that aside for later. Now I'm going to show you this awesome die set, the Decorated Tree. The tree itself has 4 pieces to it. You can literally make this tree any size you want. It has a wide base, the 2 middle pieces, and then it has the topper for the tree. You can put these 3 pieces together and not use the small top, or you can put the small top on the tree to make it perfect for a slimline card, or you can just use the top 2 pieces. I'm basically just moving all the pieces around. The possibilities are endless depending on the look of the tree that you want. Today I'm going to be using the 2 middle pieces and not the top or the bottom of the tree. I'm going to start by cutting out all of my pieces. I'm going to take the 2 middle pieces and die cut them from some green cardstock. And then I'm going to take the bows, the ornament, and the garland, and I'm going to die cut it from some metallic gold cardstock. Once all of the pieces are cut out, I just push them aside and save them for later, so now we could get into our ink blending. But first, I decided to run the trees through the Slimline Holly embossing folder to add dimension to my trees. So basically, I just take the 2 trees and I put them inside the embossing folder. And then for my sandwich, I put a cutting plate down, then the embossing folder, and then another cutting plate on top. And then I just run it through my die cut machine. I just love how these came out. Now I'm going to do some ink blending on the trees. The first thing I'm going to do is go around all the edges with some of the Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink. And I just basically ink blend all around the edges until I have the desired darkness that I want. I make sure to blot some of the ink off onto some scrap paper so I don't get any dark harsh spots on the trees. And then I'm going to come in with some black soot. Now I know what you're thinking, why would she want to put black soot around the edges of her tree? Won't that look bad? But the truth is you put a very light coat of the black soot and it just gives the edges like a little more intense look. You can see the difference between the 2 when they're side by side. You can't actually see any of the black. It just kind of blends into the Rustic Wilderness color. Now I'm just going to see how it looks on my background, and I think it looks great. I think the color of the background goes well with the color of the tree. I decided I wanted to put a pot underneath the tree, so I'm going to die cut it from some craft colored cardstock. What I love about this pot is it also die cuts a slit, so if you wanted to insert the tree trunk it came with, you could, which is really nice. And to finish off my ink blending, I use some Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink and I just go around all the edge of the pot. Then I just take my blending brush I use for the black ink and don't add any more ink to the brush. I just use whatever ink is on it, and I go all around the pot and I make the edge of the pot a little bit darker with the excess black ink, and that's it. Now I'm going to start to assemble my card. First, I just glue the pot where I want it to go on the card front. I don't add any foam tape. Then I put foam tape on the back of the trees, and I add a little bit of glue in case I need to move the tree around. And then I just adhere the pieces on top of the pot. And then I adhere the bow to the top of the tree with a little bit of glue. You don't need a lot of glue because it will get all over the place, so just use a little bit. I add the garland to the tree where I want them to go. You can add the garland wherever you want it to go. It doesn't matter. Just be careful not to add too much glue. Again, because it's so tiny, it will get all over the place. And to finish off the decorations, I adhere the ornaments so they look like they're hanging off of the garland. And I make sure to add, again, just very little glue in case it moves around. You don't want to get any of the glue on your tree. I'm going to use the Merry Christmas sentiment from the Christmas Critter Wishes stamp set. You can use any sentiment you have. I just happen to like this particular sentiment. I rub my paper with my embossing powder bag so I can heat emboss it. Then I stamp it with some Versamark ink. I pour gold embossing powder on it. And when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the sentiment. I trim the sentiment down to size and I adhere it to the front of the card. I trimmed the card front down to 3 14/16 by 5 3/16. And then I adhere some foam tape to the back of it, and then I adhere the card front to a piece of black cardstock that I cut to 4 2/16 by 5 6/16. And then to finish off the card, I adhere the card front to an A2 size card base. I think this card came out really great, and it didn't take that long at all to make, and I hope you enjoyed my first Christmas card of the season. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card, and if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos and new product releases. As always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.